What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today. I know it's been a while, you guys. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I've actually been really sick the last couple of weeks. Very uncommon. When I get sick, it sucks, and it's very rare. I haven't gotten sick in years, but you know, it finally hit me, and body told me I had to recover, so I did. And yeah, I know that's why there hasn't been any content, but feeling a lot better now. So shout out to everybody that checked in on me. I'm good. You know, I'm not really one to talk about what goes on, you know, outside of the game, but you know, sometimes when you're sick, it just sucks. But anyways, we're back now. Nationals is on its way, and we have a couple weeks, and because of that, I wanted to bring you guys kind of like a new series here. And if this does do well, I will continue to do this probably for the foreseeable future. Whenever we have like big events coming up, especially like nationals. And basically this is gonna be called Road to Nationals. We're gonna talk about all of the best possible decks you could play. I feel like there is like a good 5 to 7 decks you can play, and I am gonna highlight a lot of them. And I wanted to start with actually DRYTRON. I thought DRYTRON was just really strong. It actually won the UK Nats. This is the list. I got it from like multiple sources. There was just so many places that I was able to find the list. Shout out to the live deck profiles that were done at UK Nats. It was awesome. I wanted to start with DRYTRON though, because I think this was a deck a lot of people were not expecting to do so well, and the fact that it actually won the UK Nats was nuts. Basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over the list, talk about why I felt it did so well, and then talk about, you know, why you should possibly play this deck at Nationals. Our Nationals is coming up. It's in the middle of July for us here in the US, over in Chicago, so hopefully I'll see you guys there. But we'll hop into it, and hopefully you guys do enjoy. If you do like the new segment, be sure to smash that like button and just bear with me. Again, I am a little sick, so I'm still getting over things, but I definitely wanted to bring you guys some content. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Smash that like button so we can keep this going. But let's hop into it. So DRYTRON, I thought it was really interesting that of all things, Ben 10 came to 2 on the new list. This was something I think a lot of people were not expecting, and I think what it did, it was like a single change that just kind of pushed this deck to the next level, and there was just some other things that kind of lined up for DRYTRON, and I think that's why a lot of players decided to migrate kind of back towards this deck. We did see its success at the previous YCS. Justin Singh got top 4. I believe it also got top 16, and the deck is just very well positioned. I have played against it myself at locals, and seeing it like in action again after all this time, it's just, you know, it's one of those decks that's starting to feel kind of like BA. It just won't die. It'll just keep coming back, and it's a deck that I think is extremely strong. Again, in the hands of the right pilot, I feel the deck will be successful. The deck will be very successful if the pilot knows what they're doing, if they played DRYTRON before, or if they know what kind of the end game is, if they know what the goal of the deck is. And if you see, it's pretty straightforward. Like, I haven't seen this card in forever. I know when DRYTRON first came out, this was kind of the end board. You just ended on Vanity's Ruler, and then you just kind of locked your opponent out. And you're pretty much doing the same thing. The thing is that this deck now with double Ben 10 just has a lot more consistency. It has the ability to play more efficiently, and I think it is really strong. Just the way this deck is built as well is very strong, but we'll get into it. So one thing that this deck can do that a lot of decks can't do is it can main deck Lancia, because you can search it. You can literally search it, and this card is actually crazy. Shuts down Flunder, shuts down a lot of random interactions. Like, Lancia is a card that like we've kind of seen just kind of dip out of the format just because not too many decks get hindered by it. There was a time people were citing it for PK, but unfortunately PK kind of fell by the wayside. Like, I know the deck is still good, it still is topping, but it just doesn't have the representation. So this card is just crazy against Flunder, against other random decks, and it just helps it so that you can play around cards like Evenly Match. You can play around just random cards, that just random interactions. Like, you'd be even surprised, like if you're playing against a deck that you know plays pot cards like Duality, or not Duality, but it plays Prosperity, but it plays Extravagance, like you could randomly drop this and they can't do that, which is like crazy. Like, I know that's probably not the interaction they're looking for, but this just gives you that added oomph, and it makes your Flunder matchup game 1 a lot more winnable, so it's pretty crazy. We've got a Diviner of the Herald. Just you only need one. Basically the deck is just like a combo deck now, even more so than it was before, and you're not relying on the Heralds. As you can see, there's no perfection or any of that in this deck. Like, you're just using this as just kind of like a starter. It just helps you extend as well. Then all the DRYTRON names, you got the 3 Alpha Thubin, you got the 1 copy of Delta, you got the 3 copies of Gamma, and the 3 copies of Zeta. Just keeping the standard DRYTRON lineup. You guys know what they do. They're still crazy. Like, just being able to search them all off Cyber Emergency, being able to just continue to extend, and just being able to shoot them from the grave or hand is great. Like, these cards are just nuts. You've got the 1 copy of Herald of Orange Light. Again, it's just another card that gives you another negation. also searchable in the deck, so it is very strong. And then this is kind of like the focal point. When looking at this deck, I realized like this really is like the focal point of the deck, is you're ending on your board along with Vanity's Ruler, and Vanity's Ruler honestly is quite hard to answer. If the opponent doesn't have like a main deck Imperm or a Droplet or something like that, you just can't really do anything against it. Like, it's a one-sided Vanity's Fiend, and it's pretty crazy. I think the card's very, very strong, and I think a lot of people forgot about it. And I think for Nationals, like, this is definitely just a really good meta call. It's a very strong deck and a very strong strategy with a monster that honestly is quite hard to deal with in the long run of things. The double Ben 10 just gave the deck the added consistency it needed back. You got the other Cyber Angels, you got Ida 10, you've got the Natasha. Natasha just steals games on its own. This deck can go first and go second. That's another reason why I think this deck is very well positioned. You've got, of course, the Metatonus Draconids, and then, of course, the spells, the Called By, of course. Everyone wants this card banned. Card is so sacky as a one-of. To search everything with the Cyber Emergencies, you got the 2 copies of Fafnir, the 2 copies of Nova. I thought it was interesting he only played 2 Nova, but with all the other names, it's fine. Like, he kept the deck at 42, and I think like you can see some of the cards in here that if he wanted to make it 40, he probably could have, but decided to still play those cards in the long run. Triple Droplet. This deck really gets a lot of advantage off Droplet. It's one of the few decks I feel that really utilizes Droplet efficiently. Like, there's a few decks in the format that when they Droplet, the Droplet's really impactful, and you could actually Droplet away like your hand and field, and you could actually get advantage because your Drytrons are in the grave. So they're basically like Dragon Rulers and they come back, so it's nuts. So I think Droplet is just probably one of the best cards of the format, and definitely a card that you're going to see pretty much in every deck, either in the main deck or side deck. And the fact that this deck can play it makes it so that going second, they have a much more like just better strategy against whatever they're going against. Any board they're facing, they can break it, so it's pretty strong. Of course, the 1 Ritual card, the 2 Mystic Mine. I'm not going to spend too much time on Mystic Mine. I feel like this is going to be a card you're going to see in almost every deck going into Nationals, so expect it, prepare for it, have a main deck out or have outs in your side deck, and just know how to play around this card. And if you can't, you can't. Like, it is what it is. Like, we're in a format where Mystic Mine has shown why it's so powerful. It still hasn't been hit on the list. Honestly, I think after our Nationals, after they see all the results, after they see all the copies of this card may finally go. It may finally be time to match up with the OCG and finally get rid of this card. Triple copies of Prosperity just to search your combo pieces. Your extra deck is fine. Like, you have the utility, so you just want to be able to dig for what you need. The 3 prep for consistency. I like the Ritual Sanctuary. I thought this was really cool. Just adding more utility to the deck. It also has a pretty cool effect. I don't know how often it would come up. The ability to special summon a fairy monster in your graveyard. I don't know if that would ever come up, if you'd be able to do that with like any of these guys, but it could be an additional extender if it does work. But it is cool to see this card as well. Just a very interesting addition that we haven't seen, though we are starting to see actually a little bit in the new variations of Drytron, so I like to see it. And then, of course, set rotation and terraforming for your field spells. You have 4 field spells because you have the 2 Fafnir and the 2 Mystic Mine. This also just can really lock out any field spell decks like Flunderies or any deck that rely on a field spell. Can just make it so where they have a set field spell, they can't do anything. So card's very, very solid. So that was the main deck. Side deck's pretty generic, just Drolls. You've got the Zombie World, Necroworld, Banshee token collectors for the Sword Soul token deck, stuff like that. The main thing I wanted to focus on, though, and the reason why I think this deck is a very good, strong meta call, is you have the ability to play the Battle Buster from the Magic Key as well as the Trap card. This is a way to play around cards like Droplet and way around Dark Ruler. The reason why this deck loses is that it can lose to Dark Ruler or lose to blowout cards like that. However, you do have a built-in counter trap that literally you have this up on the board, you literally have this and you can negate it. I think that's very, very solid. I think that that's a reason why this deck is very well positioned, is that it has this additional oomph that it got from the newest set, and being able to just incorporate this into the deck makes it a very solid choice. The rest of the side deck is just very generic stuff, Dark Rulers and just Twisters and Dusters to get rid of the back row. So very standard stuff. I really like the approach that this player made in order to, you know, just kind of combat the rest of the format and then just play a deck that's pretty streamlined. And honestly, the only cards that really do hurt it that much really are kind of Droll. You can't really debarrier this deck. You call Ritual, they can play other things, as you can see with the extra deck. I'm just gonna fan over the extra deck. There's not too much to talk about. This is all standard. You just need to play the double Fafnir. You guys already know. I did like the fact that he did play Mirage Lights. It gives you another negate if it does come up, and just added utility within all the nightmares and stuff like that. And of course the Light Charmer and stuff like that. You notice there's no Dark Charmer because we're not seeing a lot of DPE in the format, but overall I think the deck is a very solid choice, and definitely a deck that, if you are thinking of playing it for Nationals, I definitely think it's a very solid call. And again, hopefully you guys did enjoy. But I think DRYTRON is very well positioned. I think the deck is very strong. Again, in the hands of the right pilot. If you're thinking about a different deck to play for Nationals, this is definitely one I would recommend. If you're someone that's not looking to play Sword Soul, you're not looking to play Flunder, you're not looking to play Despia or anything like that, or any of the Punk Therion decks, definitely give this deck a try. If you have played DRYTRON in the past, definitely think about doing it again, because the deck is well positioned. And like I said before, I think it's becoming one of the it's becoming like a new BA deck where
do what you want to it, it'll still play, it'll still find ways to play, and the fact that Ben 10's back at 2 is just crazy. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on DRYTRON for Nationals in the comment section down below. Be sure to smash that like button if you guys enjoyed. Again, thank you guys for bearing with me. I will be back to my normal self soon. I just really felt like making content, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. And, you know, smash that like button so we keep this going for the next deck. Let me know what you guys also want to see as the next deck for me to talk about for Nationals in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.